Hey everyone, and welcome to the July edition of the Instructor Community Call. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal, and thank you very much for joining us this month. As always, this is a session that is for you, the instructors, to keep you up to date with what's going on at Skillable, as well as some of the things within the instructor community. So if on that note, if there are any topics and that's something that you think of that you think, that'd be great if we could, if you could discuss that, or someone you want to be able to talk to, then feel free to drop me a line or put in the chat if there's someone that you want want us to be able to have a chat with, and we'll see if we can get them on. To that note, we are on the on social media. So if you do want to put out in there that you are here today, and if there's things that that particularly want to learn at these sort of community calls, then feel free to tag us either on X, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. And we always look for those tags, and quite often do send out some goodies as well. So we do have just our regular sort of regular areas of our welcome. Just a little bit of an update to the Microsoft Labs, as well as our instructor recognition, and then round up of any of the resources that are available. We do also have on the program today an MCT program update, which will be from Rohan from Microsoft. Just an overall look to what's going on with the MCT program. So some newly published courses from the Microsoft world. There was quite a few courses in the labs that got released with them today. Over the last month. Right. So there are some new ones that are in there. Of course, as always, if you do have any feedback around those courses or anything like that, with regards to functionality within labs, that's something. Feel free to let us know through the feedback .skillable.com. We'll be able to get on top of that. In addition to that, there are still a couple of new courses that are in development. The GitHub Copilot one was listed as under development last month, so that's still in case. And then we've got a new one that's just come in, which is the SC 500. So with that one, new course, new certification, and then new labs that are going along with that as well. So expect to see those coming out presently. I don't have an exact date, but as soon as we can get things working and functioning, so they're going to be reliable for you in the class, then that's when you'll see them appear. All right. So the folk that have reached some milestones since the June call. So we had 208 folk who have joined us, or have delivered the first class on our platform, which is always a great big plus for folk, right? And I always stress, like those who have been doing it for many years, you hopefully remember back to your first course and your first training. It's always something that you had to get over, right? Was that the first delivery and the nerves and that sort of thing within there. So congratulations for those folk that are in there. In addition to that, just a special shout out to those folk who have registered for today's call. So hopefully you're either going to be here. I'm just looking through the list now to see who's who might be in the room with us. And then otherwise, Anthony, Batar, David, Edgar, Kieran, and Sanjay, congratulations. So hopefully, if you're not here today, that you'll be hearing your name as you're listening to the recording. I see that Edgar's certainly here, and as is Anthony. And looking through some of the other names that are in the list, and if I missed you on there, I apologise. But certainly for those folks that have joined us live, huge congratulations for your achievements for your first classes as well as your first students. So the other one that we track is the milestones for the number of students that have been reached as well. So obviously we had some of the first students, but we do go all the way up. We still, we don't count, so we don't stop counting. And so Kristen Chan, that is a massive achievement for having 7,000 students that are that you've reached. And again, that's just through our platform. So but that's huge. Like if you think about whether it's that first student, whether it's your 7,000th student, the amount of people whose difference you have made in their life and in what they've done. So that's fantastic to be able to like the impact that you've had and what you've been able to see and make difference in people, whether they were able to get a promotion because they were able to answer a question, whether they were able to satisfy a question from one of their customers or something like that because of something you've done, or whether they've actually made an impact in the workflow of their environment. Like that's a huge step to be able to be able to have come in. So congratulations to you all for those various achievements that you have gotten since the last month. Now I do see that in the backstage we have had Rohan has joined. So Rohan, let me turn off my screen share here, and welcome to the call.
Hey there, thank you so much. I was struggling a little bit with the platform, so unfortunately my camera is having some issues, but I'm here and happy to be here.
But thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and have a chat with us. I guess to start off with, maybe if I can get you to just introduce yourself, so that the folk that haven't met you or spoken with you will know sort of who you are and what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So Rohan Kapoor, I am the program manager and I run the MCT program, that is Microsoft Certified Trainers. I am responsible for a network of just over 10,000 trainers around the world that train folks on Microsoft's products. These are all third-party trainers who sit kind of outside of Microsoft. We do have some FTEs that are part of it as well, but I would say about 90% of our network is external trainers, and we rely on them for their expertise when it comes to training our customers on our products.
Great. And I'm going to put you on the spot. You're fairly new into the role as well, right?
I am. I have only been here now 7 months.
And are you still enjoying it?
Oh, I'm loving it. I learn something new every day. So it's been going well. I definitely enjoy it.
And I know that as the audience of MCTs, as an MCT myself, we can be very harsh critics, but we're also very supportive.
I have seen that. I was blessed to learn a lot from all of you, and I say that with a lot of enthusiasm. In fact, I was in a room with over 50 MCTs just last week. So very, very good learning experience from everybody. So absolutely love being part of the community here.
Great. So the reason I asked you to come along was just kind of so we could have a chat around any of the changes. I know there has been some updates to the MCT program, and that's from both the new MCTs that are coming through as well as the existing MCTs. So I was wondering if you could maybe talk us through some of those.
Let's do it. So Lots of fun stuff happening. The first piece of it that I'd like to discuss is we are changing our entry criteria. As of July 1st of this year, what it means to be an MCT has completely changed from the perspective of the entry requirements. So, up until July, the requirement used to be that you would need to get an instructional skills certificate from a third party. So, these were third parties that we licensed to be able to give certificates to prospective MCTs that essentially validated their ability to teach in a classroom. That was the first requirement. The second requirement was a role certification, which is a certification at the associate or expert level out of a list of 36. We have changed both of those entry requirements and we've simplified them. So the first piece of it, which I mentioned, the instructional skills, we had about 80 providers who were offering these around the world. We've streamlined and we have one singular course that Microsoft is offering, and it's taught by existing MCTs. So the idea is when you come into the program, you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have somebody that's equipped to set you up for success from day one. And the second piece of it with the certification requirements, we've changed that as well, where rather than offering 36 different ones, which are a little bit harder to attain, we've made it really simple. We have two. We have two options. You take one of the two, AB 730 and AB 731. And they're both grounded in Copilot. So the idea here is every single person who walks through the door from here will, number one, have an MCT who's going to coach them and mentor them. And number two, they will be Copilot ready. They'll be ready to train on Copilot from day one. So those are the big changes that have already gone live. So that's kind of some of the big updates we have. We're working on some updates for renewals as well. More to come on that later this year.
Okay, perfect. And I think like the idea of doing that streamlining, I think is from my perspective as an MCT, is I think that's a great idea for new folk to be able to come on, to have that support mechanism that I think we used to have. Well, there still is, like, certainly with the wider MCT community, but I think making that more of a formal sort of process, I think is that's a great move to have on. And so, how does someone like, say for instance, because we have folk who join this call who are not MCTs but might be trainers for other vendors, so certified trainers for other vendors. What's the process? Like, what's their first step to becoming, like, to being able to move across to an MCT?
It's very simple. You would go to the MCT portal, and I can share a link. Essentially, you go to the MCT portal. Simple way to do it is if you just type on your browser MCT portal, or become an MCT, or MCT Pearson, any of those keywords will bring it up. It's a portal hosted on Pearson's website. You go right there and it gives you a bunch of different options based off of who you are. So if you've been here before, you've been an MCT before, there's a different pathway you follow. If you're brand new and you're just joining the program, there's a different pathway. It's all outlined on that site. You would just go there and you would select. So let's say you are brand new. It'll give you an option to register for the MCT onboarding experience. You just click that. You pay your course fee. That course fee includes our program fee as well. You register for the 3-day course. You take that 3-day course, and the day that you leave that course, so long as you pass your final presentation, which, especially the example you gave, someone's already an instructor somewhere else, it shouldn't be a problem. They go through that course, and when they leave that course, they will be an MCT. They'll have all the benefits. They'll have everything that they need. Now, the prerequisite for the course, of course, is one of those 2 certifications. So make sure you have one of those before you register, or you will not be able to pass the course, because they do check. But it's as simple as that.
Okay. And then, so for existing MCTs, and I know you said, like, there's that you're going to be announcing later on, with around some of the new requirements for those. But for my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that for this year's, like, for the renewal for this year, it's existing. Is that correct, or is that going to be changing as well? So, say for instance,
What's
if
happening
someone's renewing,
Yeah, if you're already in the program, so Kyle, like yourself, if
Yep.
you're already an MCT, you'll have an expiration date on your subscription, meaning on this
Mhm.
date, you have to renew. For you to be able to renew, you can renew up to 90 days before that date. And the criteria is really simple. You need to have 6 classes taught that have been logged in MTM. So MTM,
Mhm.
everyone should be familiar with, is the platform that we use to track courseware on any classes we've taught. We've made it even simpler. You can actually go in now and you can log unofficial courseware in MTM. You can custom classes in there. You have the ability to log any sort of deliveries you've done. We've tried to make that a little bit easier for MCTs who may have, it's just some sort of a different audience in terms of who they teach. That's totally okay. We welcome them all. You go onto MTM, you log your class there. As long as you have 6, you should be able to complete your renewal based off of those 6. None of what I just said in terms of the course requirements, the certification requirements, none of that applies if you're already in the program. If you're already in the
Mhm.
program, it's plain and simple. You just need to have taught 6 classes in the last 1 year. You need to have an active cert, and that's it.
Perfect.
And of course, your
And
program fee. But so that's,
yes, that's yeah. Like I think there was so the program fee obviously has been around for many years, and then kind of like got withdrawn during the COVID and then post COVID time. So I think there was, I do believe there was probably some MCTs that joined during that time that went, there's no program fee, and were kind of like didn't understand that it was being waived during that time. but for those of us that have been around for a while, like we're like, yep, that's what's normally there. Um, there is a couple of questions that have come up in the chat though. Just
Let me
to
actually jump into that program fee super quick as well. I do want to announce a couple
sure,
of things that I'm sure people will be
absolutely,
happy about. Um,
yep.
as you mentioned, we had a program fee pre-COVID that was about $1,000 a year, and that was
Hmm.
to cover all the benefits that are offered. We got rid of that for about 5 years. We got rid of it initially during COVID, and we kept it away for a little bit. But we realized that a lot of the instructors we were getting were not the audience we wanted to attract. So now completely changed that piece by reintroducing the fee. At the same
Hmm.
time, we don't want to make it cost prohibitive. So instead of reintroducing a $1,000 fee here in the US, we reintroduced a $400 fee. So that fee is going to be localized based off of everyone's individual markets. Um, that fee is going to cover the benefits that you receive as a member of the MCT program. And that list of benefits is ever expanding. So, one thing to note is Credly badges were recently released earlier this year. So, you will get a Credly badge if you become an MCT. There are other benefits we're working on as well. We're working towards building a directory of MCTs. We're working towards offering co-pilot licenses as part of the MCT program as well. So a lot of those benefits and a lot of those additional perks, along with the conferences that we offer, are what those fees are going towards. So super excited to do more with that. So just wanted to touch on that real quick. But you mentioned you had some questions in the chat.
Well, you answered. Uh, You've actually answered both of the questions that got asked. So
I figured as much.
one was around existing MCTs and the renewal process. So you've covered that, and and then there was a question around the MCT renewal fees would include some extra license for Copilot, and that's so again you've covered that. There is a question. It's kind of I guess it's more of a wider question, but it is like it's certainly very very relevant. Considering where we are in general, which is sort of like what's the future of the MCT program in the age of AI? Will the program continue to be relevant in the next couple of years? Like it's a very philosophical question, but what's your thoughts on that?
Personally, my thoughts are very clear that it absolutely is going to be a game changer in the age of AI. And the reason for that is because keep in mind, everyone that's in the room is a technologist here, right? All of us are individuals who are familiar with technology. And I want you to think about the millions of people out there who've just heard AI as an acronym. We're the ones as part of the MCT program that have to go teach all of them. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to upskill everybody. And at that point, I think that kind of tells you in itself there is a huge market for us. There's a big future ahead for us when it comes to spreading the good word of AI. And whatever the next thing is that comes after that, because there's going to be a lot more, right? People are building agents by the minute, and we'll have a lot of different things that we as MCTs can cover. So that's one of the reasons we have changed our program a little bit too. And we want to make sure every single one of our MCTs is equipped with AI as something that they can teach on. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely, we want you to have the knowledge. What you choose to teach is your choice. And beyond that, I think, we'll continue to grow as and when the market shifts.
Yeah, I think what you touched on is exactly right. Like in that as MCTs, the folk that are coming into our rooms, or virtual or in person, are looking for the knowledge on how to use that next thing. So whether it's AI, whether it's Azure, whether it's whatever it might be, right? They're looking for how to use whatever it is properly to make best use of the resources. And I think where as MCTs our knowledge comes in, and this is wider than just MCTs, as trainers in whatever the technology is, that's where our knowledge comes in. Like, sort of the analogy I always used in a classroom is that everyone walks in with a base level of knowledge of whatever the subject is, whatever it is. And it's the analogy I use is that, say, for instance, if someone was driving from, using a US example, from Seattle to Los Angeles, right? Most people would be able to do that. You basically start in Seattle, you drive south, and then eventually you're going to hit Los Angeles, right? Some people will know the direction to go. Some people will know the street names. Some people will figure that the best way to go from Seattle to Los Angeles is via New York, because that's what they've heard. Trainers, what we do is we put the guardrails in place. For some people, we give them we're giving them the street names. For some people, we're correcting the direction and saying maybe via New York is not the most efficient way to be able to get to LA. And so I think for, like, in the day, like, in the era of AI, we're in that same circumstance. We're still giving the information and the guidance on how to get to the end point. Like, the whole sort of, garbage in, garbage out sort of thing from AI prompts is still going to be the same thing. So we're still giving the details around how to get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great analogy there, and I think that's the beauty of having instructors and having instructor-led training, just to kind of guide us and let us know, for your example, you don't need to go to New York, just LA.
There will be someone, because that's what they know, right? Then, well, I know the road from Seattle to New York, and I know the way to get from New York to LA, so that must be the best way.
Definitely.
So there is another question that's come on from, this is from Farai. For the first time, all the core software engineering certifications are now all gone from the official Microsoft certifications catalog. Is this by design, and what can we expect on this going forward?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, because I don't oversee certifications. I just oversee the trainers who teach on them. So that's a better question for somebody on our certifications team.
Sure, no problems. And I know we've had Liberty on before, so can maybe reach out for to like Liberty or from the certs area, to be able to kind of to bring some of those questions to an end, to a head as well. So
that was precisely a Liberty question.
Yes. the so there was a question that popped in the head. So given that Microsoft's, like, I know that Microsoft overall has a huge drive towards skilling now, and that's internally as well as externally, like a big drive towards getting skilling and skills up to date around Microsoft technologies and that sort of thing. Where do you see the MCT program sitting within that overall drive?
I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities for skilling. I think that we're gonna start to see different modalities, different ways that people get skilled. And I can totally see MCT stepping into those roles. I can totally see a world where we say, hey, typically an MCT played the role in the classroom leading an ILT. I think that's going to change as more modalities come up. We'll have instructor led, but it'll be instructor led in a little bit more of a dynamic way, using whatever technologies that come forth. I think that we know about videos, we know about content creation from a social media standpoint. I think that's definitely one avenue. I also think that there's another avenue for MCTs to get involved in creating agentic content, right? There's so many different ways we can get involved. I don't think it's going to be limited to us leading things in the classroom anymore. I think we're going to take a step beyond that. So what that looks like, I'm still figuring out internally, within Microsoft and just within the market overall, but I definitely see that there's going to be room for something different, which I think is going to be really nice, especially for some of our seasoned MCTs who want to try something new.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, I know that, say, for instance, I put him on the spot, but Tiago is an example who's joined he's joined in the call and in the chat. Like, he certainly is one of those people who has been for a long time in sort of some of those additional sort of modalities and that sort of thing as well. So I think there's MCTs who have already taken those sort of opportunities, and then there's other MCTs who will look to step forward into those sort of things as well. So that's and I think with the support of Microsoft, like in the past, there has been some resistance. I think I can probably fairly say that from the idea of doing, like, say, video deliveries as an example. But I think as long as if there's changing support and that's thing from within there, I think there is going to be a lot more of that sort of content. That's the thing that will come forward, and also use of the MCT knowledge in that sort of way as well. So,
I mean, I'll give you a really simple example, which we talked about earlier in this call. We need MCTs to play different roles. That's one of the reasons MCTs are here onboarding and teaching other MCTs. That was the quickest kind of lowest fruit on the branch that I can pull on and say, okay, let's see what else we can have our MCT step into. So very similarly, I think content needs are going to arise, and I think folks like Tiago, our experience in the space, will step up. But I don't think they're going to step up just as content creators, but I can also see them stepping up as mentors, right? We want to be able to have this scale and have this grow. And I totally see a path forward and a place for that to happen. It's just a matter of establishing the right guardrails and making sure that we do it the right way, where it scales effectively for the MCTs, for Microsoft, and most importantly for the learners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think making sure those guardrails are clear for those folk that want to go in that direction. I think it will be that'll be part of the really important discussion, to make sure that the people know what they can and what they can't do, and how that goes through. So I'm looking forward to I think, as the wider community, looking forward to making sure that we've got that that clarity of policy and process and that sort of thing. There is just a statement or a question that's come from the chat as well. So Microsoft must rethink the usage of AI in some courses because due to the cost of AI, we're not able to teach those topics properly. So, for example, SC200 and Copilot for security, where we must have the extra Azure credits to create, use, demo. And then on lab providers like Skillable, there's no easy way or no way at all to be able to provide such labs. So I think that's for that extended sort of process to be able to put through. So I don't think that's necessarily a question, but maybe it's just a takeaway for you. And I'm sure that last week you probably heard that loud and clear from the group of MCTs that you had as well. So.
Yes, there's lots and lots of feedback, which is great. I think it helps us improve as a program and as a company. You know, there's certain levers we pull and there's certain things we can do, and there's certain things that kind of have to go into the backlog. But I hear you. I will take this back and we'll do what we can with it.
Yep. So there's something you've already answered, but I'll just put there was another question that's come up in the chat, but it was just around the Copilot subscription, and so just as you mentioned that's being worked on for part of the benefits for MCTs in the future. So there was just someone asked the question, but I think had joined after we had that discussion. So just wanted to make sure that they were they had that knowledge as well. So
yeah, it's something we're actively looking into. We've established a path forward for it. I think we're just on the way there. Hopefully by the fall this year, we should have that sorted out. Aiming for sometime in September, October timeframe to get that sorted out. But it's definitely something that's top of mind. We know that this has been an ask for a while, so I do want to let the community know that it's definitely very high on my to-do list.
Yeah, perfect. And again, I would know from the history in the MCT community that whenever backward and coming forward with requests, I'm sure it's not the first time that you'd heard it, and it won't be the last time you've heard the request. So
For sure.
All right. That was kind of the main questions that I had for you, and that little sort of bit of discussion. I appreciate your time. Is there anything you want to add before I let you go?
No, thank you for having me. Apologies for my difficulties and being late and having camera issues, but I'm glad I was able to talk to you, Kyle. Glad I could address the community here, and obviously, my door is always open. Rohan.Kapoor@Microsoft.com. Anyone has any questions, any feedback, ping me, email me. I'm very good at responding, so do reach out.
Perfect. Really appreciate it, Rohan. And if you anytime you want to come back, just reach out and let me know, and we'll have you on.
Definitely,
Thank you very
Kyle.
much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Okay. Huge thank you to Rohan for joining us. Really appreciate him spending some time with us. And so just to wrap up, we do have some instructor offers just to make sure that we're all clear and happy with those, so we know what's available, just in case you weren't aware. Certainly that we have so we've got a bunch of instructor offers are available, particularly for MCTs or AWS instructors. For those, you do have access to the mock labs if you're an MCT, so you've got access to the mock lab access. Plus, you have access to the MCT All Access Pass, which is for our Challenge Lab environment. So you may see some of those if you haven't seen them already in some of the Microsoft courses, where they're the things that are addition to the mock content. But in addition to that, we have a full catalog of about 1,300 or so micro learning labs across multiple technologies. So if you're an MCT or an AWS instructor, you have access to that. You just need to go to skillable.com/offers and complete the form there to be able to get access to either of those. But the idea is certainly you can go and use the lab environments to be able to do that prep, and being able to practice before you actually get into the class. So you've got access to those, as well as the instructor recognition and that sort of thing in there as well. All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, there's a question to go from MCT and also be an AWS instructor. So, is there a path to go from MCT to be an AWS instructor? That is something you would need to go to AWS about. Like, we supply the lab environments for those, for AWS instructors, but the certification for being an AWS instructor it's a separate certification, and it's as defined by AWS. So so it's certainly I do know quite a few instructors who are MCTs who are or AWS instructors, whichever one they started off at, who are now cross-pollinated and instructors on both clouds, which is a good path to have when you're looking at cloud environments and being able to have that discussion in the classroom, right, around what's around what the cloud differences are, and particularly if you're able to talk to products in different names depending on what your students are in there. So but yes, so it would be something to go to talk to AWS, to talk to AWS about. All right, so we do have a couple of minutes just before we're officially sort of time to finish. If there are any questions or anything like that that you have, feel free to drop them into the chat now. Otherwise, I will, while people might be putting some of those, and we've had quite a few really good questions in there today, which is good. Just some of the resources to keep in mind, so you can get access to the instructor recognition through skillable.com/instructor recognition, plus the dashboard, or /mock to be able to get some of those updates around the Microsoft official content. We do have a Slack channel, so you can get into there. We'll invite you if you need an invite into that. And as well as that, if you can go to feedback.skillable.com, if you do have ideas around the platform, content, or anything like that, feel free to drop it into there. If you are interested in what happens to that feedback, we did have a session on that early last year, I think it was, that we had someone from the product team who actually came and talked to what happens with your feedback when you put it into there. All right, well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us, and a huge thank you to Rohan for giving his time today. Again, if there's anyone that you want us to have on to chat about or to talk to, please let us know, and we'll do our best to be able to get them on. All right, thank you very much. See you next month.